Okay, so today we're going to be discussing a clone house cleverly named The Clone. And they've sent over 3 of their most popular fragrances, which are 3 of the most popular fragrances of all time. And we're going to be doing a deep dive into the brand, talking about them and the value that they provide. Are they good? Are they not? How do they relate to the OGs? And I think you might find this one interesting, especially one in particular. Let's talk about it. Alright, welcome to Just Breathe Fragrances. On this show, we've experienced thousands of fragrances across every category to bring you honest, insightful, and unbiased reviews, interviews, and so much more so you can smell your best in every moment that matters. Okay, so today we've got 3 clones of some very popular fragrances. We've got a clone of Tom Ford's Lost Cherry, we've got a clone of Creed's Aventus, as if it wasn't cloned enough, and a clone of Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Baccarat Rouge 540. Now, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to smell the originals, even though these are inspired by, and even on the brand's website, thecloneperfume.com, if I'm not mistaken, they say that they're not exact copies, that these fragrances stand on their own. And so we're going to be the judge of that today. I'm going to talk a little about each one of them. Now, the first one that I'm going to review is Baccarat Rouge 540. I've got a sample of the original here. Each one of these 3 are fragrances that I don't own a full bottle of because I'm not a big fan. Okay, so Baccarat Rouge 540 to me, I've just never been a big fan of it. I had a 2017 batch of Creed's Aventus. I traded it. And then the Lost Cherry, I actually kind of like Lost Cherry, but it'd be more for my wife than me. I can already smell this. So Baccarat Rouge 540 has this unique, airy, ethereal characteristic I can appreciate, by the way. So it's got great projection, pretty good longevity too. It's got almost like a fruity, saffronic sort of something going on with that amber wood. So it's airy, light, it's the only fragrance, well, not the only fragrance, it's one of the only fragrances I could say is both light and dense at the same time. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what the clone, by the way, I really like their presentation. I know it's simple, but it's modern and it's elegant, you know, so I do kind of like their presentation. The atomizer leaves something to be desired. So I can already smell this one too. It's nice. Okay, so as far as the closeness, I've got to say that I know they said that they're not necessarily dead on accurate. They're inspired by, but man. Okay, so here's the biggest difference. The original, it projects just a little bit louder than the clone. But as far as do they smell similar, they're like 99%. So that's what I would say is each one of these fragrances are anywhere from $25 to $45 for a 50 ml. I can't pick them apart too awful much. But as far as the closeness, I mean, these are damn close. But the OG does project a little bit louder. I sprayed these recently, and the clone actually was a good solid 6, 7, 8 hours of longevity with pretty good projection for the first few hours, for the first like 4 hours or so. So not bad. It's a really good value for what it is. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the Lost Cherry real quick. That's the only one that I don't have the OG. However, I did smell it the other day just so I could comment on it, and I'm already very familiar with the OG. So this one, I really, really like. It's a nice boozy cherry. It's got that cherry liqueur. Whenever it dries down, I do remember that it has a little bit more cinnamon than the OG. But this is actually really nice. I've worn this one since I got it from the Clone brand, and it's really nice. I mean, it's a nice semi-sweet, semi-sour cherry with that cherry liqueur note in it. And it's got some spices, it's got some woods in there. There's some depth to this. So I like the OG. I like Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. For me, I'll probably never buy it. I will, however, wear their Naked Cherry, okay? This is really nice. I don't remember how much it is, but I think it's $35. I'll double check and put the price on the screen. But I mean, this is a really solid value. I can't complain. This is a nice representation of Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. And even by itself, this is a really nice fragrance. They could charge twice as much easily. Good job. Now let's move on to one that I'm sure a lot of you guys are really more interested in, which is the Creed Aventus clone. Okay, so I had a 2017 batch of this is nice. So I had a 2017 batch of Creed's Aventus. I traded it for some Dior Homme Intense. I'm not a big fan of Creed's Aventus. However, smelling this, there is a nice mossy pineapple freshness that comes with Creed's Aventus. Let's see how the clone stacks up against the original. They call this Thunderstorm. That is their version of, about to knock stuff over, of Creed's Aventus. So let's see. Nice. Okay, so for me, this is the OG, and this is the clone. So, man, if you put these side by side and told people smell these, they wouldn't think they're the same fragrance. So the original is a little bit fresher, almost like it has some ambergris in there, something brightening the freshness up. It's nice. It's pineapple, mossy, you know the DNA. There's a touch more sweetness in the clone's version. Okay, so this has that same pineapple with a little bit more depth and sweetness. Honestly, out of the two, I like the clone better. This is not bad. This projects well. This is nice. It's the same thing with just a little bit more sweetness and a little bit more depth. It's not quite as fresh. And I mean, for 35, 45 bucks, whatever it is, I mean, that's a really good value. If you really want the quality though, man, I think that there's a smidge better quality, noticeably anyway, for Creed's Aventus. And there's a little bit more sweetness and depth to the clone. So if you're just a sucker for, quality and you can tell that difference, you smell, thousands of fragrances, you can tell that difference, then go ahead and stick with the OG. But if you're looking for something that's pretty close with a little bit more sweetness, that's very, very wearable, the clone's Thunderstorm is a really good value, really good representation. All right, so with that, the clone is a pretty new brand. They say on their website that all of their fragrances are 8+ hours in longevity. I don't know about that. I do know that we've tried these out already and we were getting pretty good longevity, really good projection from all three. In fact, the Baccarat Rouge 540 clone, which is, let's see, Naked Cherry is Lost Cherry, is Rouge Veil. That one, the projection wasn't quite on par with the OG. So I can't really pick these apart too awful much for, 40 bucks. I think that they're really solid value and they're really good quality, especially. for the cost. All right, so with that, that wraps up the review of these three from the Clone. Kind of impressed, especially for the price point. They could have easily charged twice as much and I would have still been impressed. So remember, a great scent doesn't just smell good, it says something. So choose what smells right for you and just breathe. Thank you.